Hello, boys and girls. It's another edition of Ask Guillem, and exciting week ahead, I have to say. I will be at the Camp Nou later on today to see another encounter, maybe one of the last ones, between Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. Just briefly, Cristiano Ronaldo, 11 goals in 10 games, still scoring, still affecting the way that the team plays because he now wants to play on the left-hand side, coming inside. But really, his trademark is scoring goals with one touch, which he's done 6 of those 11 times. So you are talking about a player that keeps scoring at a rate. I was reading this morning in El País that we hadn't seen players of that age, 35, doing, the Van Nistelrooys, the other Ronaldo, Raúl. They were already on their way out, and Cristiano Ronaldo continues. But that's why he has been one of the best players in history. For me, the best striker in the world ever. And Messi scored 4 goals in 10 games in the league and 3 goals in 3 games in the Champions League. That's a reference. The other one, of course, is that the team is not doing great, especially in the league and in the Champions League, 5 victories in 5. And it's partly down to the fact that this difference and the fact that you see less of Messi perhaps in the league is down 2 reasons for me. One, in Spain, they know how to play Barcelona. They're not ashamed of actually be very compact and closing the lines together, leaving no space in between the lines, so impossible to go through them, which is of course the main asset of Messi and Barcelona when they play through Messi. So no space, and then of course Messi disappears. It's more difficult for him. A second reason, remember, let's not forget, he said he wanted to leave. He's made his mind up. He's decided to leave. So, when you apply yourself day to day to a job in which you thought you would have been happier somewhere else, it's not going to be easy to actually get your best performance. So on that, and the words of Neymar, for instance, where he was asked about would Messi adapt to PSG, and of course Neymar was very complimentary of Messi and said, yeah, no problem, even if I have to move aside. You have to say that you don't go through that talk unless you know something, or unless you know that there is a real possibility, and of course it is. Going to PSG is a real possibility. Manchester City, I've told you all along, they are interested, but not the only club that is interested. Remember, Juventus considered the possibility of putting together Ronaldo and Messi. Impossible finances, and then they abandoned the idea. For now, Inter Milan wanted him as well, and Abramovich always available to listen if Messi is leaving Barcelona. So the situation is on Messi that he has decided to leave. So the new chairman, the new president, the one who comes on the 24th of January, will have to convince him to stay. Will have to change his mind. That's where we stand. I think Messi is and his family are thinking of the possibility of a new change and a new challenge, something that revitalizes the love for the game, I suppose, even. But it's up to the next chairman, which will be perhaps Victor Font or Laporta, to convince him to stay. So big job ahead. Anyway, them two are meeting again, and I've done a piece in BBC. I think have a look, because it tells you that we've got this idea that they are competing, and of course they have been competing for a while, but they've got more in common than separates them, and that's what this story is about that I wrote for the BBC. Today I'll be in the Camp Nou, as I said. I'll maybe do an Instagram or something live or in the Camp Nou later on. But for now, let's deal with your questions, like the one from Michael Beaton, 77. Hi Guillem, where do you think things are going wrong for Arteta at Arsenal? Is it him, is it the players, or is it the board, or a combination of all three? I already kind of dealt with it last week with this, and I think we're going to hear every time that Arsenal don't get the right result. But if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to double check, but I think it's 5 points from Champions League places. Is that right? Premier League table. Let's see. Arsenal, of course, know where they should be. Arsenal 15th, and they've got 11 games played. and they got 13 points, no more. So for European places, it's about 6 places, 6 points, and about 2 Leicester City. That's 8 points, which is nothing to start with. That's the first thing. It can just be overturned. But the signs that the team are giving is that they don't create enough. They're not effective enough. They concede too many chances. That their pressure that should be the key to this to Arteta's team, to an Arteta's team, the pressure high especially, is not very effective. Perhaps the players up front are not suited to it. And then he hasn't found the perfect combination up front with 1 forward sometimes, then 2 forwards with wide players. And I say one thing that perhaps people don't want to hear, but in my eyes, that's what it is about. In recent times, the team that was closer and that I analyze more detail, because I was kind of there all the time, was of course the Tottenham Spurs of Pochettino, for the book we did together. And what I saw there was that the first year and a half is what it took to actually for the culture to change, for the players to be replaced. Arsenal have got a problem of being unable to replace some of the players that don't want to go or cannot go, or whatever the story is, and that means that they cannot use that money to actually bring the players that are needed. So everybody's to blame from that point of view. Did those players deserve those contracts? That's a club decision. Now that they don't need it, while they're still there, or some others that perhaps are not fulfilling their potential. Who is that? Why is that happening? And a lot of the time it is because the team doesn't perform well, doesn't allow the individuals to shine. And why is that? Because the perfect balance hasn't been found. So everybody, I'm sure, will raise their hand and says, okay, we're not doing our best here. But every change of this nature, and we're talking about a team that was in decay for a long while, any change requires, first of all, everybody to think the same way. And I hope that that's what's happening. And secondly, it needs a process which will require time. Yes, more time. And I know everybody wants an answer to this, to every problem now, if possible yesterday. Can you give me an answer yesterday? But that's not possible. So that's all what I can say. And I think I'm gonna look into it with more detail as well, just to see what work has been put in what direction, and share it with you if I can, to see if we can compare whatever's been tried to whatever will be produced in a few months' time. That's for me the biggest thing. What is it that is being done, and is it coming out in performances? So we'll look into that. Cobra Khan 4 is Messi really going to PSG? Some sources in French media saying it will be done, and since Neymar talk about it, something seems to be cooking. I've answered that one. Forgotten that you've asked. Sorry about that. But basically, that's the story. If Neymar felt that Messi wasn't leaving or knew, and remember they share WhatsApp groups, etc., he wouldn't get involved in that kind of conversation. I think he's getting excited about the real possibility of him going to PSG. And why PSG? Remember, City determined to get him. They've got the finances for it. The 4-hour conversation that Messi had with Pep Guardiola suggests that there was talks about what could the team do for him and vice versa. So there would have been all of that. But I just wonder if I return to play with Neymar, where the hierarchy is clear, where Messi knows what he can add. Perhaps with, I know that Mbappe have started conversations with PSG to renew his contract. I still think the favourites to get him is Real Madrid. And if that's the case, and Real Madrid can get the finances for it, which they say that they've got, then with 1 year left in his contract, Real Madrid buys him off PSG, and then the financial gap, gets filled in by Messi, who earns 100 million euros gross, and I guess would them like to lose money, then PSG will have to make an effort to balance the books to accommodate him, but without Mbappe would be obviously much easier. It's an easy competition in the league, and the Champions League is the big target, and Messi can help win the Champions League to any side, of course. That's what Manchester City want him as well, not so much for the competition in the league, that as well, but especially because it brings an extra level of quality at the difficult moments. That's the extra goal. My favorite stat of Messi is that 29 goals in 29 finals. Nobody ever in the history of the game did that before. So it's what it brings, that ability to appear in the right moment. Dinesh is saying, I wanted to ask if there is any solution to this on-pitch crisis at Barcelona, maybe replacing Busi with Aleñá, Puig, Pjanic, and playing Conrad, Trincao instead of Coutinho. Why doesn't Koeman understand that you cannot play with 3 number 10s? If it was that easy. Obviously, Koeman has decided that the team starts with Messi. If that's the case, why doesn't he help Messi? I don't understand. I mean, the number 9, for instance, is fixing the centre-backs, but also it's killing a lot of space in Braithwaite. Should do more runs in behind. Griezmann and him started to understand each other, Griezmann and Messi, and for 3 games, we talked about a Griezmann that understood his role, waiting between the lines, sometimes running in behind. A lot of things that were working well. But then you add Coutinho to this, and I completely agree. It just makes it all a funnel, makes it all going through the centre. Let me explain briefly what Cádiz decided to do to stop Barcelona and beat Barcelona, and that will give you an idea of what should be done, I think. They were happy that Dembélé was not in the team, because they were going to have 3, and they did have 3 holding midfielders, including Alex Fernandez, who's normally a number 10, but was put deeper. Because if if one of the holding midfielders had to go to defend somewhere else, at least there will always be 2. It's the idea, of course, is to kill the space in which Messi affects the team, and have the defensive and the midfield line very close together, no spaces there. The other thing they did, because most of the instructions that Cádiz manager Alvaro Cervera gave was related to Messi, don't let Messi turn towards goal, because when he does, that's when he sees a pass that you cannot defend that easily. So he had always one next to him, stopping him turning easily and comfortably. That was obviously helped by the fact that everything started with Coutinho, who started the game, was just coming through the middle, killing more space. When Dest left as well, Cádiz were happy, because another player that was adding depth and width, and just disappears for Trincao, who actually is a left-footed player. So when he's on the right-hand side, he comes inside. Yet the funnel again. So all those things, plus the fact that the ball wasn't moved around very quickly. But even if it does, there were so many players defending. It's the hardest thing in the world to beat a line of 5, either 5 in the middle as it was in the midfield as it was with Cádiz, or 5 at the back. And to do that, you need wide players and insist in wide areas. Anyway, the combination wasn't great, and it has happened a lot in the league, because they know how to play Barcelona. In the Champions League, they tend to leave them be a little bit, and that's what Barcelona just becomes such a good team there. Askai Baski, I owe you one, says, do you remember what the Messi's Maradona celebration piece you missed last time? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the Koeman era. You heard about Koeman, about the shirt. It was Maradona. This is when Maradona died, and Messi decides to celebrate with a goal, and of course a goal that's similar to the goal that Maradona scored again with Newell's Old Boys. The only goal that he scored with Newell's Old Boys, the goal that Messi scored on that day, it was actually very similar. Just check the videos, or maybe we just could put a picture of them, to paint this bit here, because it was very, very similar in the way both goals happened. Anyway, he decided to take off his Barcelona shirt, and underneath it was a Newell's Old Boys shirt that Maradona had worn. It wasn't the first one when he played a friendly against Emelec. In fact, Maradona only played 7 games with Newell's Old Boys, so it's still amazing that he's one of those shirts, but it's not the one of the debut. Against Emelec, that debut in Newell's ground, Leo Messi and his dad were there, and Messi was asked to do kipi-yapis in the middle of the pitch. Imagine. So he doesn't remember, but his dad does, that he actually was doing to keep yappies as a 6-year-old. He was already put in the pitch sometimes to do that, and he did that in that debut of Maradona. That was a shirt that was given by a collector. 3 times he tried to hand it over to Messi. Eventually he did. Messi was very thankful. He had it in the house and thought of it. Messi thought, okay, well, that would be my way of giving an homage to Maradona. So what a story. Finally, from Ariel Yutsu says, who would want Paul Pogba? We've all heard what Mino Raiola has said of Paul Pogba. With his fussing, a brash agent who, with no care for the club and inconsistent displays on the field, is a liability for any club. Well, let me tell you one thing. All the clubs in the world will tell you, perhaps not Manchester United, that Mino Raiola is the best agent in the world. Similar to Mendes. Whatever he promises, he delivers. Of course, if he has a client in your club and things are not going the right way, he will do the best for his client. Is he thinking of the club? Why does he have to think of the club? He has to think of his client. The timing of it, we are talking about a market that's going to open relatively soon, and the possibility of an auction. When you do this kind of noise, it's because it's not clear where he's going to go. Juventus won him. You know that PSG may think about it, but of course, with 1 year left in his contract, it's big wages, and if you're thinking of Messi next, perhaps it doesn't make so much sense. So there isn't so many places. Zidane wanted him for Real Madrid, but basically Florentino Perez stopped that, and I don't think they're going to go for him at the moment for financial reasons. So all in all, it's not a perfect time for him and for an auction. There's not enough contenders to battle for his signature. So by making noise, especially before a big game in which he will probably perform or play, and maybe even perform, so all the eyes will be on him. Imagine now if he plays really well, everybody will say, oh, he is actually very good. All the eyes on him, as there is pressure on him. Let's see if he delivers. If that works that way, then well done to Mino Raiola and Paul Pogba. But 2 things. One, if he's not happy, let him go. And I think everybody's in the agreement in Manchester United that he's got to go. Secondly, I don't think it really affects performances that much. If the team has got a good dynamic, if things are working well, if he comes in and adds, whatever happens outside shouldn't affect so much. It's just the noise outside in the social media and the newspapers that we get confused about sometimes, and we think, wow, this has happened. What would happen on the pitch? In the short term, I don't think it has any effect whatsoever. So maybe we see a really good performance of Paul Pogba. Maybe it's a way for Mino Raiola to actually wake him up as well and say, come on, give us something, as we haven't seen the best Paul Pogba for a while. I know he was recovering from COVID and muscle injuries as well, but it's time to show that you're as good as you think you are. And I'll be looking forward to seeing that. That's it for now. Have a good week, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye-bye.